All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Trey Darisol, and today I'm going to be diving into a critical topic that lives within the intersection of cybersecurity and human behavior, that being breach fatigue and the impacts that it holds within the AI era. So, as artificial intelligence continues to reshape how we detect and respond to threats, it's time that we also kind of ask the question, what is it doing to us as a people, mainly the humans behind the screens? So, to get started into why this is so important, AI powered detection systems, they've become more so hyper vigilant. They generate breach alerts faster than they've ever been seen to generate breach alerts before. And according to reports from Orca Security that I found and put in my references later in the slides, is that 59% of security teams receive more than 500 alerts per day. And even more alarming than that, over half of them miss critical alerts entirely. So while technology is showing signs of speeding ahead, human behavior is almost hitting a wall, and it's definitely slowing down, which the phenomenon is something that we call alert fatigue. And that's when users become so inundated with notifications that they begin to almost overlook them. And this doesn't just pertain to like small notifications that wouldn't be very substantial. It's more important that we look at them because even the important ones are being the ones that are also being overlooked as well, which makes this a more and more difficult topic to cover. So overall, from this, and as it works as the motivation, is because we're seeing a disconnect between technological advancements and the attentiveness of humans themselves, which is the space that this research is kind of looking to step into, and a big motivation for this, the idea of this. So the purpose overall of the study is to get an understanding of how both emotionally and behaviorally people, users respond to breach alerts that are generated by AI. As you can see in this image to the left, data breaches using generative AI tools from a study done that was back in 2022 leading to 2023 found that from April 2022 to October 2022, there were basically 0% of data breaches with generative AI tool mentions, and then it kind of see the uptick immediately in January 2023 and then leading into April 2023. And with statistics like that showing, then that could definitely be a factor that could lead into just overbearing and people feeling like they're being flooded with these things, and then they don't pay as much attention to it and they overlook it. So it allows us to kind of connect the dots between previous cognitive research. Also, another thing I put in my references was findings from Stanford that found that multitaskers, people that multitask, have a lot of things going on, especially with these generative AI tools now being mentioned at more frequent rates than we've even seen from 2023. They suffer reductions in memory and their attention span. So that kind of comes as the reality of automated overloads in cybersecurity. If our systems are improving detection, but our users are tuning it out, then the real risk isn't the technical one, but the real risk is now the behavioral one, where tactics, techniques, and procedures, also referred to as TTPs, they must have kind of an evolution now. So we're not just looking to improve technology now, but we're also looking to strengthen the level of user engagement and lead to a reduction in fatigue overall for users. So the research gap and question here, I'll start off with the question, is what impact does the frequency of breach notifications create via AI, and what they have on the user engagement, urgency, and then also signs of alert fatigue? And here's kind of why the question is worth asking. It's because our current research is heavily technical. It's focused on detection algorithms, false positives, and system design, but there's a very little level of exploration on how these alerts affect real time human behavior. So it leads us kind of to wonder if users are becoming desensitized, if we're training systems faster than we're supporting the people that use the systems themselves, and that kind of creates a gap between users' technical capabilities and human response times, where breach fatigue becomes more and more dangerous. So the method of this research would be to evaluate how different alert frequencies influence user behavior and their attention. So the objective that we would use would be to conduct an evaluation of AI breach alerts and their frequency, then be able to indicate the signs of alert fatigue within subjects. And this could be like a decline in the level of urgency that they show to have a quick response time to a vulnerability or something of that sort, or a data breach that's coming up. And then also a reduction of clicks, also presented by the user. And then finally, to analyze the levels of multitasking and the level of responsiveness garnered based on the load of multitasking that they're being given. So the methodology that we looked to follow in that was a study that would involve 60 participants around the ages of 18 and 30. So people that are probably more inclined to pay attention, or be in like a multitasking situation. So the first group would receive 2 alerts per day. The second group would receive 10 alerts per day, and it would span over 3 days. Participants would engage with a simulated security interface, and within that security interface, we would be able to measure how long they spent reviewing alerts, the rates of click-throughs that they had, and also the amount of urgency that's being held in trusting the alerts, especially those who are multitasking, which would probably be seen more in group 2. But the goal overall would be to identify specific behavioral trends tied to notification overload and see where alert fatigue begins to manifest, not only in systems, but in the users as well. So finally, just to wrap up the whole presentation, the research isn't just about measuring performance. It's also about understanding the human experience within automated environments. As AI is continuing to shape security infrastructures, it's important for us to ask the question if we're designing alerts more for efficiency, or if we're designing these alerts more for engagement. Can we reduce the cognitive burden that's being put on users without having a compromise to safety? If that's possible, bridging the behavioral science and cybersecurity would allow for an opening of doors for maybe a smarter or more empathetic system that could alert almost just enough, the perfect amount, and users would be able to actually trust it and then use it every time instead of not using it, or overlooking it, and then there being that level of alert fatigue. So overall, that's basically the presentation. Thank you for listening, and yeah.